Representative Del Grosso. Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I'm going to urge a no vote on Senate Bill 255. When I first saw this bill come through, I started saying this was the worst bill of the session, but I might back that back a little bit. It's probably in the bottom 5, but it's down there. But I will go as far as saying that I believe that so far of all the bills that we've seen here on third reading, this is the most fiscally irresponsible bill we have seen of the session. Members, let me explain to you what we are actually doing. I'm not going to dispute what Representative Hamner was talking about all of the things that we're funding in our budget this year. But we are taking money away from the Severance Tax Trust Fund. And let me explain what this cash fund does. It is for the use in funding programs that promote and encourage sound natural resource planning, management, and development related to minerals, energy, geology, and water. This money gets deposited, part of it, into the perpetual base account, which is used to fund state water projects. Goes into the operational account to fund programs established within the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission, the Colorado Geological Survey, the Division of Reclamation, Mining and Safety, the Colorado Conservation Board, to promote and encourage sound natural resource planning, management, and development related to minerals, energy, geology, and water. And then it goes into the Water Supply Reserve Account, the Soil and Water Conservation Account. Members, I don't see anywhere in there in the definition of this account that this is to be used to be swept into the general fund to fund all of these other projects. Members, we are reaching in the couch cushions. When you are rating a cash fund, you are saying there is no other place for us to look for money, so we have to dig into that couch cushion. Members, we have rated this account to the tune of $280 million since 2009. This will make $300 million. Guess what? It was promised that it was going to be paid back. I think taking $20 million more is not paying it back. It's actually making it worse. I have heard, well, this is good for my district. I'm going to get a project funded in my district. I don't want to beat up on my friends in higher ed. Normally, I'm down here supporting higher ed. But I've heard that, well, if you support this bill, capital construction might get hurt. And there's a reason why we laid over that Senate Bill 250, because that is the capital construction projects. They're holding it hostage. They are saying that if we take this $20 million, that is the only place in this $9.592 billion general fund budget that we can find $20 million as capital construction. Members, that is ridiculous. That is not the only place that we can find it. We have rated this fund time and time again. And even if that is true, even if capital construction does have to take a $20 million hit, you are taking monies away from the cities and the counties. Is it right to take their money away to fund some building somewhere? I hear all the time from people in here, I'm down here standing on principle. I'm standing on principles. Members, is it principle to take money away that is not yours and give it to somebody else? That is what we are doing with this bill. This money belongs to the cities and the counties. Well, this is great for my district. Well, you know what? If we are basing this off of the impact distribution that went out to direct counties last year, Weld County, do you think that they want to fund a building somewhere in the state by taking $334,000 away from them? Garfield County, $209,000. Mesa County, $139,000. La Plata, $101,000. Route, $77,000. Gunnison, $74,000. Rio Blanco, $74,000. City of Rifle, $60,000. Those numbers might not sound very high to you, but I guarantee in those little communities, that is a heck of a lot of money. And we are taking this money away from them to fund all other kinds of general fund programs. There's no other place to cut. We're spending $9.6 billion. Tell the JBC, go back and find 20 million out of 9.6 billion. There is no reason we have to balance this budget on the backs of the cities and the counties. This is not our money to spend. I just gave you the definition of what this cash fund is for, and nowhere is it to go fund workforce development. Nowhere in there is it to fund to build buildings. That is not in the definition of this cash fund. This is fiscally irresponsible to vote for this budget or for this bill. If you want to stand on principles, here's your chance to stand on principles, members. Don't take money that is not yours to spend on these other projects. This belongs to the cities and the counties. This is not our money to spend. I urge a no vote on this Senate bill.
Representative Coram.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It would be very simple to simply say ditto, because everything you heard from Minority Leader Del Grosso is true. But in reality, think about what we're doing. We're taking $20 million from those communities, and there's over 200 communities involved, that said, we need this money. There's no support from the Colorado Counties Incorporated, no support from the Colorado Municipal League. Members, we've taken $280 million from these communities that can least afford it. If you look at my region in the Western Colorado, and I consider rural Colorado my region, the labor participation rate has not equaled what it was in 2008. These communities are financially hurting. This may not be a lot of money to you, saying $20 million, but when you say the communities that he just listed, you know, if you keep talking about that, it adds up to a lot of money. And I totally agree, there are better ways to balance this. We all know there's money out there. It's available. Let's put the JBC back to work. If they need some help on where to cut, I can certainly give them some suggestions. Thank you.
Representative Brown.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We just passed a budget, 6.9% increase. That's $1,713,105,673. This $20 million doesn't seem like a lot maybe to you compared to that increase in the budget. But it sets a precedent. It raids a cash fund that we should not do. Now, whether you're from, your folks are from Jackson County, from Routt County, or Moffat County, or Montezuma County, or Larimer County, or Pueblo County, This money should go back to those counties and cities. Please vote no on this bill.
Representative Jay Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, you're hearing most of the information that I have sitting in front of me, but as you see, I only have about 200 pages to make my bet today to get to 7 o'clock. No, I'm not doing that, members. But you've heard some passionate speeches up here in what's going on, and you understand that we go after these cash funds when we're cutting, not when we're growing the budget. We don't go after our communities when we're growing the budget. That's exactly what we're doing. We're growing the budget, yet we're still going after our local communities. We're still going after our local communities. And everybody says, well, this industry did well. And there are impacted communities that need those money to deal with the impacts of that growing industry. And you get to hear about all the people that are afraid that we're going to come and gore their buffalo. I mean ox. Some of you got that. Yeah, that's not the point. We put the Joint Budget Committee back to work in finding these dollars, and there are dollars. We've accounted for a certain bill twice inside of this budget, which would clear up $5 million. There's $5 million of these dollars already sitting there ready for us, and we know that. We've accounted for the bill twice. So there'll be $5 million freed up automatically for that. If we are going to go after growing cash funds, I showed you yesterday that the provider fee, and it doesn't harm anybody, even though we hear a little bit different. It doesn't harm anybody, and we proved that inside of an amendment yesterday. But if you're going to be cutting this, and understanding Minority Leader already went through kind of some of the places that this goes, and water being the number one. But remember, you voted on 12 new inspectors in the oil and gas industry, did you not? We all did. Guess where those come out of? It comes out of these dollars. So I would expect that if we're going to cut $20 million out of this, that we should go back and cut those 12 inspectors out as well. In an industry that is declining at this point in time, why would we not then go back and cut those inspectors out that are paid for by these dollars? But no, we want to still pay for the inspectors. We still want them to do everything that we ask them to do with these dollars, yet we're cutting some of their money. All because we say this is the only place to find it in the budget, and I don't believe that for 1 second. This is not the only place in the budget that we can find these dollars. We say that this budget creates more money for infrastructure and roads. Well, where do you think the direct distributions go in the grant dollars go for this dollar, for these monies? They go directly to the counties for infrastructures and roads. But yet we brag about it in the budget that that's what we're increasing, and then on the other hand, we're decreasing it. How can that happen? I don't think we can brag about the budget and at the same time cut our local communities' dollars. And I get to hear all the time that this is from higher education, that this is about El Paso County. El Paso County. El Paso County, from the Energy and Mineral Impact Assistance Program, benefited to the tune of $3 million last year for infrastructure for that county. Infrastructure for that county. Don't tell me that El Paso County is not benefiting. They are benefiting. And just because we think that the only place that we can solve this, and we hold a bill over to say, oh, don't do this because we'll vote this bill down if you vote that bill down, well, great. Then we'll really go back to the budget and figure out how to do this. And then everybody will have a stake in it. Members, I believe we can find this money. We know that there's $5 million out there. We know that there's more to be found sitting inside of this budget. I would ask you to think about your counties and the sheriff's offices that are sitting there that are struggling to buy their vehicles, or the landfills that they have, or the septic and sewers that they're trying to put in. And I have a list of these projects. You can find them on the DOLA website. There's hundreds of them that benefit from these dollars. Hundreds of them that benefit from these dollars. But we say this is an appropriate cut because we don't want to hurt anybody in higher education. And we're not saying that's where it is, but that's the ghost in the closet, is from higher education. These dollars help everybody. I would ask you to vote no on 255.
Representative Dorr.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I can't say much better than what's been said already. The fact that this money is specifically reserved, at least I thought it was, for the communities that receive the impact from oil and gas, so they can meet the needs of their communities, be it repairs or be it of infrastructure or be it law enforcement, for the continued pressures that are put on by oil and gas production within their communities. That's what it's for. That's why it was developed, and it's in the right place. To take this money away and say, now we're going to use it for something outside of these communities, to use it for special projects, to make sure these special projects get preserved or started, or in some cases extended and expanded. Well, at the federal level, I know what they call that, and they call that pork. And that's what we're seeing here, is we're starting to see this grab for pork projects. And we're better than that. And as Representative Becker said, we can find this money. We can sit down and make those tough decisions. And we need to. We need to. And I'd ask for a no vote.
Representative Del Grosso.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I want to see certain bills pass the legislature just as much as a lot of other people do. But what we are doing is we are saying we are going to pass those bills by taking money away from the cities and counties and asking them to pay for them. None of my bills are worth that. Who doesn't want to see some kind of capital construction project built in their area? We all want to see something like that happen. But to make that happen, right now you are saying that we're going to ask Garfield County, Mesa County, San Miguel, Montezuma, Town of Meeker, I can go on. You're going to ask them to pay for it. There's a long list of bills that have yet to be paid for. That's one pot of money we can dig into. If we have to make cuts in other areas, so be it. But to go to these cities and counties, and some of the most poorest counties in our state, and say, gosh, we know you're struggling. We heard that, my speech. We heard that from other speeches on opening day. We're here to help rural Colorado. But guess what? Somehow our budget is more important than your local budget. By voting for this bill, you are saying the state's budget is more important than your local budget. Members, we are better than this. State budget is important, but it's not more important than the local folks. Those that are truly struggling. Again, I will echo the comments of some of my colleagues that have already came. We have raided this fund before, but those are in times when we are cutting. We are spending $600 million more. Our budget is increasing. And yet we're going to go raid that couch cushion? We're going to say we need that $20 million more than you? That's what this bill says. We need your money more than you do. Again, I've heard several people talking about principle. Principle is not taking money away from those that need it to give it to somebody else. Again, I urge a no vote on 255.